Real Talk 100 Radio 100 station. You are listening to POZ Impact. We are Houston's first radio show dedicated to people living with HIV, their friends and family. We are here. We are joined with my co-host, with Lady Hale. You know her from Real Talk 100 Radio. She's on Real Talk with Lady Hale. She comes tomorrow from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. And we are also come join us on Facebook. And we also will be having with Anton Dowls. He is the host of Politics of the People. We are going to be talking a little bit about a little bit of everything and elections,
giving predictions tomorrow.
And we're just be saying about a little bit of everything. And then we also have Council Member at Large currently, Michael Kubosh. He will be joining us shortly, and we're so excited to have the show. So tune in to us and just get ready for an amazing show. Yeah, it's recording. And we just want to make sure that everybody knows we want to give a shout out to everybody who donated to Thomas Street and everybody who now that for the Thanksgiving drive, it was amazing. We had over 100 volunteers, people who donated, people who gave their time, people who showed up for the first, for the after. Because it takes time to clean up, it takes time to do the service, it takes time to prep. Everybody knows all that stuff. But now we also have a toy drive. And so if you're looking for the toy drive, we are needing toys for people who are living with HIV, their friends. And so if you would like to drop off your toy drive, these toys benefit people living with HIV. I just want to make that clear. So you can drop off the toys at Thomas Street anytime between when the store is open. The store is open inside of Thomas Street at 9 o'clock in the morning until 1 p.m. at Thomas Street inside the store, which is it's inside the clinic and it's right next to the pharmacy. If you have any questions, you can just walk in the store. There's somebody in front of you that will ask you if you need help, and just let them know that you're here to drop off a toy. And we are more than happy to accept your toys that you will be donating. Again, these toys will benefit people, the families impacted by HIV. And so it's really important that we, just like everybody came in for the Thanksgiving feast, we need everybody again to show up for the toy drive. We want to make sure that these kids, these families, have enough toys. These are the only toys that they probably receive in the entire year. It's not a birthday present. It's not just because I have people that give guilt toys, and these are not those. These are not guilt. These are the only toys that these people will receive. And so it really makes a difference when they get to have 3 or 4 toys that they get to take home for Christmas. And we are also so thankful for Lady Hale that she's providing books so that every kid that walks into those doors will have a book to be able to take home with them.
And Shining Stars Leadership Academy will have Builder Bears for the kids.
Wow, this is breaking news.
$75 a piece, but they didn't give me clothes.
Hey.
But we do have the Builder Bears valued at $75 a piece.
That's amazing. You know, that is truly awesome, because these kids don't have anything. So Build-A-Bear for them will be a miracle, you know, for them. It really will be a miracle. These kids are gonna be so astonished and so happy to receive not only the bears, but also literacy, and be able to have a book, you know, because having a book is so important as well too. So I'm so thankful that she's partnering with, you know, Thomas Street to making sure that these kids have, you know, her you know, Shining Stars Leadership Academy, you know, there's partnering with Thomas Street to be able to give these books, which is so important. You know, we are so blessed.
Remember, we're starting the literacy program the first of the year.
Yes. We're also starting, that is super important. Let me try to get Anton Dowls on here. Since
I don't want to be on tonight. He's the handsome man of the night.
Okay. I have him.
Do not put that camera on me, sir. Do not. Not tonight.
What?
Oh, that's perfect. Okay, so we are live, so tune in, please. we are so thankful for our listeners who are tuning in. I just want to get off the bat with Anton. Anton, do you have, would you like to say anything real quick, or should I just continue going? Can we go to a commercial? Yeah, my commercial. My commercial.
Listen to POZ Impact, Houston's first radio show dedicated to people living with HIV, their friends and family, every Monday from 7:30 to 9:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Right here on Real Talk 100 Radio. You can also find us on all social media under POZ Impact. That's Listen to POZ Impact, Houston's first radio show dedicated to people living with HIV, their friends and family, every Monday from 7:30 to 9:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Right here on Real Talk 100 Radio. You can also find us on all social media under POZ Impact. That's POZ IMPACT. And if you happen to miss our show, please subscribe to our YouTube channel where you can catch the latest episodes of POZ Impact.
We are a team of millionaires that are looking for 9 POZ radio listeners to take to $10,000. You must be a POZ radio listener and highly coachable. If you are hungry to change your life and work with people who care about your success in changing the world, email your name, number, and email address to pawsradio@theatsjr.com. Again, that's pawsradio@theatsjr.com.
Antonio T. Smith Jr. here at Real Talk 100 radio station. It's been a fantastic pleasure to meet you. I am the 2020 United States presidential candidate. My name, again, is Antonio T. Smith Jr. I'm running for the 97%. Here's what that means. It means I want to create an economy for 97% of Americans who do not control this nation's wealth. My job is to make sure you get what you deserve. Real Talk 100 radio station. Catch me here. As many chances as I can get. Antonio T. Smith Jr., your next president.
All right, we are back. Thank you guys so much, our listeners, for tuning in. We will be going live with Anton in a little bit. We're just letting him get a little bit of food. But we also have some announcements to make as well, too, real quick. Lady Hale, I know you have a couple of announcements to make.
I'm going to do the church.
Yes, please do the church thing, because we need our listeners. We need our listeners to be informed, because not all our listeners listen to us every week. And so somebody may have missed last week's show, and they're looking for. So I just want to also give a shout out, because I came to you last minute. I have some neighbors, and my neighbors are one of them is on the autistic side.
And remember, I had those seats saved for the my special needs babies, so it was not a problem, and we welcome him. Do we need the head test, or are there any accommodations we need to make for him?
I don't think so. I think he will be okay. I told him he has so when I spoke with him, he has a little bit of a crush on me. He left me a little note, like,
you're beautiful.
you know, he's like, I'm in love with you. You know,
We all in love with you, Josh.
he's a 16-year-old boy, and I'm like, okay, I wanna talk with Titan. I want to talk with Ian. I want to talk with these other black out gay men to see how do I address this, but I haven't done it.
But first of all, he's underage, so you need to go to the mall. Let's just get that straight right there.
The parents are not really. He lives with his grandparents.
Okay.
And they're not.
Who's his guardian?
I think
the grandmother.
The grandmother.
Okay.
Yeah. And so she's very strict with him, and she doesn't really allow him to do much, and he doesn't really have any kind of friends, or he's very antisocial.
Okay.
Like my mom took him to see the trail in Bel Air.
Yes,
and he was just
overwhelmed and
excited.
Yes.
You know, and I'm thinking, wow, like he really hasn't enjoyed
a lot of activities, getting out or whatever. Yeah, we can include him.
You know?
Yeah,
so
we
like,
can include with a lot of things we're doing.
That's kind of like exactly what you guys are doing. You guys are including people who haven't really experienced.
All outcasts, that's all of us.
Yes, you know,
all outcasts, come on in.
We haven't seen these River Oak slides. We haven't seen
Kingwood.
All these people
they don't want us out there.
They decorate those lights tremendously.
When I first went to River Oaks and they took me by somebody's house, I thought it was an apartment complex. They said, no, that's somebody's house over there. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I was really shocked when my mom told me that he was just so completely overwhelmed,
Right, right.
you know, and happy. He was just so happy to see
Okay,
it.
yeah, because I
And I was
told him
like,
I
oh,
had
it's not-
15
yes.
seats set aside, you know, for my special
Yeah.
needs babies and their families. So that is not a problem at all. And I thank everybody because the response was overwhelming. As
I
soon
know
as
it
I
was.
post the
Yes.
flyer, we were sold out in 30 minutes. So I want to thank, because the main thing I was looking for my children in Acres Home, 3rd Ward, 4th Ward, 5th Ward, some of those children that would never have that opportunity. And I want to thank my sponsor for really purchasing out of, I've been calling their names. They told me not to do that. So I want to thank my sponsor for paying for our bus with first class tours, allowing us to have that. And I want to thank Coles also for donating our toys. And I also want to thank Build-A-Bear for giving us the bears for those kids. And I want to thank Ms. Mildred Amos and Dr. Sugar Transfers providing all the food, and Miss Anisha Wright. And I got to give a special shout out to J. Brill Handmade Goods because
Yes,
of that, she
yes,
was one of our
yes.
sponsors that also helped us to purchase the bus. So I want to give a shout to J. Brill Handmade Goods for taking all of the proceeds that she spent over the summer. She donated all those to Shining Stars Leadership Academy.
my-
And
wow,
I am
wow.
so grateful and so thankful for her for doing that. And this has allowed a lot of the children who otherwise would not have an event for the Christmas holidays. So
Yeah.
I just want to thank all my sponsors that really did that and came forth with us, because that's truly a blessing. And don't forget Thomas Street Clinic, where we will be giving toys and books to the children there. So I'm so grateful, and we're so thankful for that. And we're going to start our year off with the literacy program. We have a lot coming up.
We are so excited to be able to partner with you.
Yes.
And you know, because I was just saying that to our leadership or to the council was
Right.
like, you know, like, what are we doing about books? I see that, you know, our library's really not staffed.
Right.
There's no books there. What are we doing? And they're like,
Okay. Well, yeah, reading is the thing that we need to
Yes,
catch our next
yes.
generation in. A lot of the
Absolutely.
parents don't know how, you know, we're having trouble reading too. So we'll start with the parents also. So we're so grateful, and we are so very thankful for that. And what we're going to do the Saturday before Christmas, because I'm not familiar with the Kwanzaa celebration, which starts the day after
Yes, yeah.
Christmas. So we're going to have someone come through and give us the 12 steps, what foods we eat, what we do. And hopefully next year we can do the 12 steps of Kwanzaa, everybody that want to participate. And I have another young man that's Jewish. They're going to show us their tradition. So we're going to partake in the Jewish.
oh, Lord. We're live. We're live. I'm just trying to see where we're live.
I know, Anton, do not have me on the show.
He does.
Please take that off.
Okay.
What happened?
You showing us. We don't want to be seen. But
Hey,
we love
you know what? We gotta
We love-
show you. We gotta show you.
They can hear me
Okay.
talking. They don't need to
What's
see
that on
me.
your head?
Hi, Tara. Thank you
I
for,
love him
thank you
so
for
much.
joining. Yeah.
All I can do is just love him.
That's all we can do. Anton, so I know you're trying to talk predictions on Lady Hale show, but give us a little bit of insight of what you think is going to happen. You think Turner's going to lose his seat?
You
Come
know
on,
what?
let's get real here real
Let's
quick.
get. You want to get to the meat and potatoes?
Yes, of
right?
course.
Meat and potatoes.
Yes.
All right. So
Come on now.
this is a very interesting race. Let's talk about it. So you had a city council member that jumped in the race, right, to challenge the mayor,
Yeah.
Mike Boykins.
Yeah.
He had the firefighters union supporting him. Big push. Hey, this is our guy. He's gonna win it, right? He's gonna take care of the firefighters. He lost, right? Now
Yeah.
he doesn't even have a seat at the table anymore. Period, right?
Yeah.
Until January when everybody's sworn in. And so you got left with Mayor Turner and Tony Busby. Now, everybody's talking. This is real crazy. This is real crazy on
Oh, there we go. We're live now, guys.
Oh, you got it? Woohoo, you can hear me?
Yes, guys.
So, this is real crazy because you got two people, right? and everybody's the buzz on on social media is pick the lesser evil.
Yeah.
Right? So let's talk about those evils.
Let's talk about those evils.
Let's talk about those
You know?
evils. All right. So, Mayor Turner. Let's start with Mayor Turner.
Let's start with him. Let's
start
burn him real quick.
The career politician. Now, this is people know this is a horrible word, right? These are horrible words. Career politician. We understand that career politicians tend to be those individuals that feel like they're entitled to the seat, that no one should ever run against them, that
Real talk.
that they excuse me, for a lack of a better term, you know, are the king of everything they survey, right?
Yeah.
And so Mayor Turner has gotten there and gotten very comfortable, and realistically has not really done everything that he promised the people here that he would do, i.e. potholes. I mean, I still drive around and feel like my tire is about to get ripped out from under my car. Do you drive around and
Yeah.
still encounter potholes?
Yes, of course I do.
And the biggest thing that people would always argue with you, well, he fixed the pension issue. I'm like, okay. So by fixing, you mean hurt a group of people?
Yeah.
So, I mean, because I would think that, now let's also say, let's stop right there and say that there's always three sides to a story, right? So
Yeah.
there would be the mayor's account, the firefighters union's account, and the truth.
Okay.
So the truth, where's the truth? Where's the truth? So yes, there was a pension issue, right? From my understanding, from several people I've talked to that were very close to this situation, current council members, along the way too, was that there was a negotiation. Hey, we're going to take your pension, and we're going to do this for you. Firefighters said, "No, we don't want to do that. We want our pension." Understandably, you want your money. Well, you don't want to. You're not going to be able to work forever. So yes, when you retire, you want to be okay.
Yeah.
You want your money. You built up this. You know, you worked on most firefighters. You know, it's not the easiest job, but people last very long doing it. You know, and so they said no. Police department said, well, whatever. They lost theirs, and so when it came to the fact that, look, we're going to have to do this, bam, it happens, and they're like, well, you know, give us our raise. Now, this is secondhand information, so I'm not quoting it as it's absolutely true. What I'm saying is this is what I was told. And so the firefighters wanted their money right then and there. No, we want our money now. And now, let's talk business. I'm sorry to jump all over the place. Let's talk business, because in order to understand why this is a bad ordeal, you have to talk business. You're a business owner, and I come to you and I say, hey, if I need $1 million right now, and I can set you up for the future, you look at your bank account, and all you have is $1 million. Are you going to give me that $1 million right then and there?
I mean, it depends.
No, see, you're a gambler, see, and that's a risk. And sometimes risk hurt people, i.e., electing some certain people hurts people, right? No, in business you wouldn't do that. You would negotiate different terms, a different arrangement, a different, different setup. You would say, hey, great, I got $1 million, but I can't just give that to you right now. Why don't I give you $250,000 from now? Next quarter, I give you another $150,000 until we get to that $1 million over time, right? It just makes sense. That's business sense. You don't dive in and just dump money, Mr. Gambler, Mr. Josh Mica. But realization is here.
But if you took my pension,
I took your pension, but I'm going to give you something.
Hold on. No, you're not going to give me
something.
You haven't given me nothing yet. You
But
took
what
my
I'm saying is,
pension.
I would give you something,
but you're
but
not
he
giving.
failed there.
Exactly.
He failed there, and then once they, and then the other secondhand information was that he told people that he planned to give the firefighters the worst deal he could. Now that's vengeful, and it's very childish, right? Because let's all talk about this. DJ, I want you in on this too, brother.
Well,
So We got DJ Game Tight in the house for us tonight. So, and we're going to have some very candid conversations because it's time to have this.
And we're still just on the mayor's race, guys.
Yeah, we're just on the mayor's race. This is the worst one. This is literally, no, and the second would be District B.
Okay.
Okay? So.
My district.
So, as mayor of the, fourth largest city in the nation,
Soon to be third.
soon to be third, you have the greatest responsibility over what, close to 6 million people. Because we still have to include the metropolitan area, right? Because what happens in Houston carries over to Katy, carries over to Stafford, carries over to Meadows Place, carries over to, Pearland and all places on the outskirts. Because where do they work? In Houston. Those people work in either oil and gas or something else, right? So they matter. Their money matters. Their time matters. Everything about them matters. You have to think outside the box. You can't be in that box. That box sucks. And what this mayor has done sucks. Because let's talk about some personal things that I have. I'm going to give you that. Kind of help you, enlighten you a little bit. So when my family first found out we're moving here, I was like, okay, I own my own business in Arizona, but I don't know if I want to do that in Houston. I'll just get a job temporarily until I figure that out. You know how many jobs I applied for with the city of Houston before we moved here?
100.
Nope. 36 jobs.
Yeah.
CDL jobs. What do I
Yeah.
have? I have a commercial driver's license. Several of those jobs were with waste management. Yeah. With solid waste.
Yeah. No, I mean, and they're always talking about we need drivers, but yeah, I guess people are applying and they're not calling people back.
So come to find out, we were short 50 plus CDL drivers. Months later after I got here. Because I happened to go to a meeting and end up talking to somebody and they was like, yeah, we're short 50 drivers. And I'm like, interesting.
Why are they not hiring?
Because I got the stupid email. I have a CDL and I have a ton. My resume is realistically 6 pages long because I love learning and I take on every adventure and every experience because I want to have all the means to take care of my family. So I take opportunities. So why did I not get an interview? Why did I not get the job? Though it's a crappy job, I'll be honest with you, I'll slap you for $15 an hour. That's a crap. In Houston, $15 an hour is bullshit.
It is. I mean,
it's bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, you can barely
For a
live.
CDL driver, you know why you short drivers in Houston? Because they can go work in the oil fields in Midland, Texas, making almost 10 times that amount of money driving trucks, driving frack. Why would they come drive your stupid raking that your deplorable trucks that don't have air conditioning in them and stuff for $15 an hour? Common sense says that is not the way.
Alright, so I mean, back to the basics.
So back to the basics. So that race sucks, because both people suck. I'm just going to blatantly put it out there.
So
I
we
don't
heard,
agree
we heard
with
like the
Turner.
negatives about what are the positives about Turner, about keeping Turner? What are the positives? You know, my negatives are as well too. Like he has said, he had 4 years to pass Hero, which he hasn't. So I'm not even sure why the LGBT community is even supporting him when he's even said that he will not pass Hero again in those 4 years that if he even is elected. You know, that is one of my big things. But also it's also HFD. It's also waste management. It's also I see that my trash is not being collected. I see that my recycling is not being collected. I see that we got a contract for recycling for this high amount, and I've talked about it with the other candidates on here. They're like, well, they can't say what they voted for because they got the thing, so late, but they had meetings of this. I mean, I know that there were so many meetings because it was like 4 or 5 months that then they went back into negotiations, and then they're like, oh, we have to do another bid process. So, and all that bid process, no one really understood what the hours operation was going to be. Nobody understood from what time the drivers were going to be able to drop off their loads and come back, or nobody understood the traffic that was going to take. So like nothing, in signing this contract, nobody realized, had like common sense to say, hey, this is what we're, okay, so we understand it's going to be all the way in spring. What happens with the traffic? We do know that 45 gets backed up. We do know all this stuff happens. You know, nobody had the common sense to say, hold up. And dropping them at 4 p.m. or dropping off at 3 p.m. is not going to work. The cutoff time, what do? Like, the drivers are just going to sit in traffic, and then they're not going to dump the loads, and then they have to collect the trash. Sometimes I have gone like 2 months without my recycling being collected. And I call and I call and I call, and nothing really happens. And I just call and I call and I call, and they're like, okay, well, just leave it out there.
Well, here, you said some very, very important things. So, you give them a lot more credit than I would, because, yeah, they knew when they signed that contract that it sucked. It was just a pay-to-play politics at its finest. If you think about it, come on now, because I was involved with helping to try to support the drivers while they were out on their long shifts, 15-hour shifts, right?
Yeah.
So picture this: you come in at 5 a.m. in the morning, hit the road, but you have to stop at the facility to dump yesterday's load first, which is way up north, one facility, and the line to get in is over an hour long. And then after that, you have to hit your route, which is typically about an 8-hour route, right? Now you're behind by 3 hours, and you're short-staffed, so now add another 2 to 3 hours on that truck, because you're trying to cover as many people as possible, as many routes as possible. And so you're working in a hot truck with the diesel engine. Trust me, it gets really hot in a cab when your air conditioner's not working. It gets really cold when your heat's not working. And so these drivers are out there committed to it for $15, $17, whatever, $18 an hour, depending on how long they've been with the department, right? And they're committed to it. They're doing it. And yet, no one's really saying anything. There's people that got hurt because drivers either fell asleep behind the wheel. There's all kinds of things that have happened, right?
All right, so those are the negatives. What are the positives of? I have no positives for Turner, but do you have positives for him? Do you see why he should have another second term? You know,
He shows up to a lot of events.
That's
Can that be a positive?
that is not a. Well, I guess
When
maybe.
you know, he shows up to a lot of events.
He does show up to a lot of events. I do see that.
So I would tell you, one of my turnoffs about Mayor Turner is just based upon the fact that he talks at you versus to you. And then he has, for Jeff, whatever Spadek, or whatever his name is, that oversteps and tries to curve you. If you're talking to the mayor and you're trying to get your point across, then Jeff comes out of nowhere. Yeah, we heard you. Just know that we heard you. No, shut up. You're not the mayor. And I want to talk to you, man. Because I pay taxes here, and this tax is high. The roads suck. The education sucks. Everything about this place sucks. Because when I drive down the street, I see people struggling. I see bad roads, and I see people in houses that are not going to be there much longer because of gentrification, because your buddies are coming in and building up those 3-story piece of shit houses next door to them. You know, let me tell you something. So let's go ahead and run this, because I kind of got fed up a little bit over a lot of the crap talking that some of these people around here talking full of crap. So Kansas City, where I was raised, recently made their public transit free.
I saw that.
You know how many people's in Kansas City? 1.4 million people are in Kansas City. It's a smaller city compared to this place.
Yeah.
We have the money here to do that 10 times over, and yet it's not done. You can't tell me nothing about Houston being a great place until you start taking care of the people that are struggling. Because there are people, I'm good, I don't need your help. But there are people that need it. And I'm going to fight for them every day for the rest of my life. And I don't care who I piss off doing it, who starts blocking me, who doesn't answer my texts. I got a lot of that going on. Politicians currently in office that when I text them for the last couple of weeks, they've been totally ignoring me. I'm gonna post your name in a little bit because I'm for real. Just so the Anton you saw before was more trying to get to understand people without pissing you off first. But see, I don't really care about pissing you off, because at the end of the day, you can't affect me because I know how to get mine. because I was raised in Mississippi and grew up in Kansas City. Two different places that teach you about hard knocks and how to survive. But what you have here is a lot of people that's telling you, hey, man, you can make it, but they're not extending a hand to you. And for the most part, some of them are even kicking you down the steps. Some of them look like you, and they're kicking you down the steps. So once you come out, so back to your question, I have very few positive things about the mayor.
So, okay, so let's go to Tony Busby.
Tony Busby?
I've met him.
Never met the guy.
Okay, you never met him.
Never met Tony Busby.
Okay.
Did see him once during the Acres Home, I forgot what parade they had up there. He came by.
Juneteenth parade.
I have not heard, well, I have not talked to him. I've heard a lot. There's a lot of people on social media in the black community that are celebrating and clapping for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here's my take. I don't trust anybody that would even consider supporting Donald Trump. Right? Period. If you support Donald Trump and knowing that this guy's a whole clown. He's not even half a clown. He's a full clown.
Okay.
This is one hell of a circus. There's no ringmaster. It's just clowns are running this show. And I'm going to be real with you. If you support Donald Trump, I got to question everything about your intelligence.
So what does Donald Trump have to do with Tony Busby?
Because he fundraised for him in his house.
Well, he hosted one campaign, but he's also donated to many. For Sylvester Turner, he hosted Sylvester Turner's election last.
So what did we just say about Sylvester Turner? Birds of a feather flock together, man.
But they're gonna be friends regardless after the election.
You support Big Man, and then people say, "Well, he donated to Hillary Clinton."
Yeah. All I'm saying
what
is that,
crime bill? What happened? What happened to the black community with the crime bill?
You know, so all I'm saying is if Hillary Clinton would have won, would be
we'd be in trouble again. We'd still be in trouble.
I'm just saying, like, would Hillary Clinton have won, and were this election of Sylvester Turner versus Tony Busby, would his donation be really that much effective? I think this is.
Oh, you need to come in, get in?
Hello? Okay.
Keep going. Okay.
Okay, someone's coming to get you.
Yay! Oh,
Right.
my buddy's here.
Hello.
So that is Council Member Kubosh. He's out the door.
Hey,
But
how you doing?
do you think we would have this bigger conversation if Hillary Clinton would have won?
Heck yeah, we have. You know why? You gotta understand the Clintons themselves. They made a ton of money off of people. They weren't clean. Here's the deal. Here's the deal. The problem is that people are putting too much on politicians. You know,
So who do you think is going to win, Turner or Busby?
can we do none of the above?
No, it has to be. We have to do two of them. That's the only two that was running. So who do you think is going
So
to
the
win?
lesser of the two evils.
I voted for Tony.
You voted for Tony?
I did.
How high up are we? Can I throw you out the window?
You can throw me out the window.
No, I wouldn't do
The
that.
only reason why I did it was because, you know what, out of principle. I just could not vote for somebody for I already know that is not going to have the firefighters' best interests. I already know that he's not going to have my best interests in the LGBTQ community. He's already told me he's not going to pass a hero discrimination bill. So, to me, I'm thinking, why do you deserve my vote? At least with Tony Busby, I don't know what he'll do.
Hey,
you know, I don't know what he'll do.
I can hear you. So here's
I'm
what you're
thinking,
saying.
like, okay, well, I'll take my chances with somebody who I don't know what they're going to do versus somebody who's told me that they won't do this stuff that I do.
So I can understand your position, right? I'm one of those people, I ask a lot of questions. If you don't know, it's my poster ultimately to get everybody's perspective.
Yeah.
Because your perspective matters. Whether I agree or disagree, neither here nor there. I just want to know how you feel so that way I can adjust maybe in a way that makes us come to some type of consensus, meet in the middle, right? Yeah. So I understand that what you're saying ultimately is it's better to get screwed over by a total stranger than by somebody you know,
Yes,
right? Or have a connection to. So I can understand that, and yeah, hey, God bless you and your candidate. You know what? People believe in undervoting,
But
meaning that they don't vote for that specific.
But what does that help? I mean,
It doesn't help, nor does it hurt.
No, it does. It does, because if you don't vote, that means that your vote did not count.
No,
that
your vote counted in the other races.
And exactly, but not that one. So that means that you're leaving it to somebody else to vote.
So you can say, I didn't vote for that clown when he gets in office.
Yeah, but you can say, but that also means that you did not vote for that race, which means somebody else did, and you're leaving it up to somebody else's hands.
I voted.
You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying for the people who do.
I voted straight down the line. My people that I support for that race, for those specific races, right?
Tell me.
Huh?
Okay, we can continue. All right. So let's continue. Let's continue with.
Why are you over there? Nom, 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 nom.
Hi.
Hi.
How's it going?
Hey.
Hi, Councilmember.
That's
I'm Josh. Nice to meet you. Sorry, I'm way over here.
Hi.
Where do you want me to sit?
Right there.
Oh,
Right here? Yep. Right there is fine.
Hey, there he is.
So we have a very special guest that came in. Councilmember Michael Kubosh. He just came in. I want to also give a shout out because he was one of the people who donated towards our Thomas Street Thanksgiving dinner or Thanksgiving lunch, really. And it was a really last minute Thanksgiving dinner, and you have to turn up your mic. So, Anton, there you go.
You know what? I don't want to talk about that real quick. We have to acknowledge the
Yes.
beautiful lady in the room that Councilman Kubosh brought with him.
Oh, okay, yes,
He brought his amazing wife with him.
Yes.
And, we have to give her, because, they say behind every powerful man is a strong woman, so we have to give her the acknowledgement.
Thank you.
I had the pleasure of talking with her last event at, was it HCC?
Yes.
Yeah, and so, I know who the boss is.
Yeah, her name is Glinda. When people say they want to call her Linda, and I said, no, it's Glinda, like the Good Witch in the Wizard of Oz. And then she looks at me kind of funny.
But anyways, I just want to say thank you so much because it really was a last minute decision off of your bat, and it was a last minute for us as well too. We thought we had it covered, and for people who said that they were going to donate turkeys, and at the last minute we ended up with one turkey.
Oh,
and
Lord.
So we were stressing completely because we're like, how are we going to feed 400 people
With one turkey.
With one turkey?
Well, Jesus could.
Yes. Well, we're not Jesus. But I reached out to Anton, and Anton reached out to you, and he gave me your information. So I'm so grateful. I mean, we haven't. Our board meeting is our council meeting is tomorrow, and so we plan on acknowledging and signing the forms for all the board members, so that making sure that you get knowledge, as well as we had some other people who donated. We had over 40 people who donated cash, turkey, green beans, mashed potatoes, water, pies.
Wow.
It was just to make it all cover. So we were so grateful. But I mean, if it wasn't for you guys as well too, we wouldn't be able to pay. We had to pay the caterer. We had to pay expenses that we had to, and it all comes out of our pocket. So even though we are part of Harris County doesn't pay for anything for us. We do this all on our own.
Wow.
We've been doing this since 1991, I believe we've been doing this. And this was the first year that we thought we weren't going to be able to do it, just because the person who usually is in charge of decided, this is all volunteers, and so decided at the last minute, he was like, I'm not doing it. And then our caterer had a heart attack. And
wow.
It was just like one after another. We're
wow.
like, oh my goodness, how are we gonna pull this through? But it was the generosity from people like you. So I just want to say thank you so much for coming on our show. And our listeners, if you're listening to, if you have questions, you can give us a call at 281-318-8650. We are so grateful that you came in on our show and talked with us about what's going on in this election and your ideas and your views and anything else that we can get out of you while you're here. But
Mike
yes.
cut the check. Mike,
Right.
Both the Mikes cut the check.
Yes, but Mike Knox and
Knox and
Michael Kubosh as well too. Yes.
So yeah, I'm glad you did, because otherwise I was going to talk about you.
No, but I just want to say, I mean, we are so thankful because we really weren't sure we were going to have to pull this off.
How many people did we feed? 400?
It was like 300 and something people, 350 people that we ended up feeding,
Wow.
but we had extra, So we were able to do for the homeless, for Omega Gate. I'm not sure if you're familiar with them, but also with Omega Hospice.
Let me ask you a question.
Yes.
Since we passed this ordinance where you can't feed over 5 people without permits, did you have to get permits to feed
So,
these people?
no, we didn't, because actually we're feeding people in the clinic. So these people have to come into the clinic.
Okay,
It's
all
not,
right.
It's
Well,
not a
I was curious about
yes,
that because
it's not a yes.
I didn't want nobody getting arrested
No,
for feeding people.
No. We actually go through all the proper channels. That's actually very specific that they have to go through. They have to make sure that they're patient first of all, and then make sure that they have everything up to date and everything is correct on the system, and then they can get a ticket and they get It's not a requirement, but we try to make sure that it is, so that we know who's actually coming. But at that point, we feed anybody who comes in the door.
Right.
So if you're a patient and you bring your family with you, your spouse, your kids, whoever is with you at that point, we will feed them as well too. And a lot of people weren't aware of that. So people were like, "Oh, I have 4 kids with me. Can they all get something?" Yes, absolutely. Like,
Wow.
we're not going to turn away anybody. And then our next day. So we host 3 big things usually. It's our Thanksgiving meal, the AIDS World AIDS Drive that we have, the AIDS Walk, and then we host the toy giveaway, which is happening on December 17th. And so where we give patients who have kids, which we know people do have kids who are living with HIV, they get to come in and they get to have a toy and they get to have a couple toys. So we're so thankful that we're going to have. Hopefully, we haven't had them yet, but I'm counting the blessings because I know it's going to happen. Thanksgiving happened without a hitch, and I know toys will happen as well too. But I just want to say thank you so much for coming to our show, and I just really, really appreciate you being willing to talk to us a little bit of what's happening with the Houston area regarding with HIV. My show is called POZ Impact, which means POZ is positive, for short for HIV positive, and Houston's currently number 12 in the city, in the nation for new HIV diagnosis. So how do we?
Now you say we're number 12.
Yes.
At number 12 as far as new cases.
New cases.
And yet we're the 4th largest city,
Yes.
but we're the 12th.
Yes.
So we're really that's not. We're in pretty good shape, right?
No, we're in bad shape.
We're in bad shape.
We're in bad shape. So we want to make sure we're 0.
No, I agree with that. But what I'm saying
there's-
is we're not number 4, even though we're the 4th largest city. We're number 12.
True,
So we
but
want to
we're-
get down to we're number 0.
Well, we want to be able to get down to 0 new transmissions, and we want to be able to. Houston being so large, we do right now see that it's a lot of. A study just showed that actually straight people are now being mostly diagnosed with HIV in 2019 than it was gay people. So this is the first year that straight people have been they've been more diagnosed than gay people. So it's no longer a gay disease as a lot of people like to call it. But beyond that, we want to make sure that people are aware that Houston still needs help. Right now, there's no taxpayer money that goes towards Houston's HIV community, which would be called prevention.
What do you mean? Because I vote on things all the time that have to do with HIV. I mean, I'm voting constantly ever since I've been on council with Mayor Parker and Mayor Turner. There's always grants.
Grants,
and
but
funding.
no taxpayer money.
Oh, okay.
So what do you
Well,
think
but
is
a
what
grant
you're
is
saying?
taxpayers' money.
You
Yeah,
say more money. Ultimately, the term is more money. More
We
money
want
towards
to be able
programs
to
and
yes, we want to be
towards-
able to make sure that Houston is paying towards HIV prevention. So making sure that people can be able to afford health care.
Well, HIV is a disease that affects people. I don't like tagging a certain group because it affects everyone. I've had
Correct.
family members
Yes.
that's had it, and the thing is, there's a lot of ways to transmit it, a lot of ways to get it. Stigma, it's a disease that affects people, and it can affect
Yes.
all people.
It does. But we also want to make sure that we acknowledge that it affects black and brown people the most at the moment. And that they are the community that in the poverty community is that we see that a lot of people are being diagnosed with. Harris County is really the only county or the only hospital district that does HIV testing for all of his patients. So we want to be able to see that everybody, all primary care physicians, do HIV testing for everybody as well too. So when you go to your doctor,
I don't mean to interrupt. How long have we been doing that at our
at the,
county?
we've been doing it for I think about 10 years now already.
I would hope so.
Yeah, it's been a while. And
It affects everybody. Why
And it's
would
very
we wanna know?
successful. And that's the thing is that is the question is why wouldn't you want to know? But people are afraid of knowing. I mean, I just had somebody just recently on my show that he didn't know what his HIV status was, and I talked to him. I was like, hey, let's go get tested. There's free options available. I let him know where it was like, I will go with you. He actually ended up having insurance. He called his doctor. He's like, oh, I would like an HIV test, and I go, why? And he's like, well, I was on a show, and I just would like to know that
The doctor wanted to know why he wanted an
HIV
HIV
test.
Well,
That's why we want to make sure that Houston is not asking questions of why.
Yeah, we got to quit putting that stigma on people.
Yes. So
I want to know why. I want to know if I have it or don't have it, and that whether or not it's that, or diabetes, or cancer, or anything else,
or hypertension, or whatever the case is.
God knows I've got that.
Yes.
Well, you have to also think about at the same time that a lot of doctors stray away from requesting certain testing because the insurance company may not pay them what they really want to make on it, so they don't request those tests. There's a lot of reasons why a lot of people don't get tested. One, I get all the tests every time I have my physical. When you're this age, I don't know how old you are, young man.
Yeah,
but
I'm 68 years old, and I'm proud of it.
I'm 44, and I will tell you that.
And I'm going to live another 68 years, God willing.
Yes.
You know, hey, you know that at 68, you're still young. But what I would tell you is that, you know, when you go, a lot of people don't go get the regular physical. You're talking about going to understanding your status. You know, whether you're HIV or AIDS positive. A lot of people don't even go get colonoscopies. They don't go get prostate exams. They don't go get some of the most important things because cancer still is a very real deal, and it's a big money maker for the health industry. And
is that why we're not curing it?
That's why we're not curing it. Because come on now, think about it. Medical research.
You sound like my wife. She says that all the time.
She is an amazing woman. She is absolutely amazing.
She says they're not curing it because it's $1 billion industry.
It is. Think about it. You get diagnosed. I have Aflac. Now, no advertisement for them, but I have the additional insurance where if something happens, an accident or some type of issue happens,
the duck shows up and
the duck shows up and gives you a check, right? So if you get diagnosed with any form of cancer, they automatically cut you a check for $5,000.
Say it ain't so.
$5,000.
Even skin cancer?
Any type of cancer. If you're diagnosed with cancer, that supplemental insurance will cut you a check for $5,000. So why is it that they'll cut you a check for $5,000 so easily? Because you got to think about the profitability of cancer. Cancer treatments, when you think about radiation, chemotherapy, that stuff costs a ton of money. And a lot of people, so my cousin's grandmother, she passed away, God bless her, so she was an amazing woman. The pharmacist was watering down the cancer treatment medicine to stretch it in order to make more money off of it. And several people end up dying because of it, and he got sued left and right. It is a business. It is a business. The longer I keep you just barely hanging on, the more money I make. Man, she's so smart.
I looked over at her because I felt like I was listening to her.
You got to think about this is reality, and we have to stop. Just what sometimes ideas that seem far fetched and crazy are that guy's a weirdo. That's your buddy. For those that didn't, you can't see it. We were looking at my computers up in Raddick.
He didn't
Commissioner
sign
Raddick
up?
was on my computer screen. Said he won't seek re-election. Thank you, Raddick. Thank you. We appreciate you.
Wow.
Councilmember, so I see that
I couldn't help myself. I seen the picture. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he won't seek re-election. That's a good deal.
You're a part of the bill bond. Were you part of? Were you for the Harris County
bill reform?
Well, let me tell you what I'm for. I was for years. I have been pushing that pretrial release was not doing their proper job in releasing people on low-level crimes where the person would be in jail and be stuck there and not be given a free bond, and they didn't have the money to bond out. I fought it for years. I said that it's ridiculous to arrest people and then keep them in jail, and they lose their apartment, they lose their car, they lose their house, they lose their marriage, their kids, they put them in child protective services over a low-level crime that they should have been given a PR bond. That was a federal law, or that was a federal decision by a judge years ago to do that, and the city and Harris County didn't follow that. Didn't follow it. It was the pretrial services didn't follow it. Now pretrial is giving everybody a bond. Now I know your listeners aren't going to be happy with this, but I haven't seen anybody arrested on shoplifting charge since June of 2017. And that's why some of these big stores like Walmart are going to be shutting down in certain areas, because they're not going to arrest you. So all they'll do is try to take the stuff away from you, and they call it a crime of necessity. You're stealing the stuff because you need it, and to me, you know, that violates my faith and my belief in the Ten Commandments and my belief in the Bible, is that I don't think you should steal stuff. You know, they break into your car and they steal stuff out of your car, and they call it a crime of necessity. We saw very few of those crimes, and they burglarize your house. That's a felony. But was I for the decision that the federal judge made? Not exactly. It pretty much put me out of business. I haven't written but 2 bonds in the last 3 months, but that's okay. I'm not upset about it. I just wanted people who are committing low-level crimes not to sit in there forever. Yeah. But on the other hand, there's 2 reasons why people were given bonds. Number 1, it's the 2 B's. One is to behave when you're out on bond. Behave. Don't break any other laws. And number 2 is be in court. And 49% of them don't go to court, statistically. So why arrest them if they're not going to go to court? I mean, why would you go to court and get convicted? If you didn't go to court, you wouldn't be convicted. You wouldn't have a record. All you have is an arrest. So at some point, the pendulum has swung maybe too far the other way. And it was too far one way, now it's too far the other. So I'm concerned that people do not get incarcerated for long periods of time on low-level crimes. I think that the war on drugs has failed. All of this locking people up for drug addiction is insanity. We have been doing that for years, and it's got to come to a halt. If I was the president, I'd find everybody that's in prison for long terms because of drugs, and I'd let them people out, because it doesn't make any sense to have a drug addict in jail because he's addicted to a drug. Tell me how that's going to help anybody, unless he's endangering the public. Yeah. Now, if he's endangering the public, that's different. But if he's only doing it to himself, why are we making criminals out of so many people? Because once you get a criminal record, you all know this. This ain't like church where Jesus forgives you and you go your merry way. Once they tag you, you're done. You'll never be a doctor, a lawyer, a pharmacist, an accountant. You may not even be able to get a license to be a nurse, or for sure even a beautician or a barber's license, because you got a criminal record. So what we have done is, to these young people, we have destroyed their lives. And these young girls that get arrested for prostitution and crimes of moral turpitude because they dance too close to somebody, we're destroying their lives. They can never become a nurse or a doctor or anything, and it just doesn't make any sense.
You know what, Councilman? I'm sitting over here. Here's the deal. I like you.
Well, Anton, you were a bondsman as well too.
Yes. So here's what I'm going to add: perspective. Big word for a lot of people. They don't understand it. So I was a bail bondsman for 8 years in Kansas City. A lot different than Texas. So how Kansas City handled it, a lot of people knew that if you turned yourself in on Friday and spent the weekend at Leeds, which was a city-owned jail facility where they farmed you out from like downtown or a substation, on Monday, when you see the judge, 9 times out of 10, the charges were either going to be dropped or it's going to be time served. You did not have to wait to get bonded out. You did not have to spend your last dollar. There was a process in place. But what you guys fail to have here is processes in place at the judicial level. Judges have the ability to say, hey, that's a stupid crime. You're free to go on your own recognizance. Hey, come back and see me on this date. If you do not appear, your bond is going to be $5,000 and there's going to be a warrant put for your arrest. Because no one should be in jail for months on shoplifting charge or something less than $50. It doesn't make sense. Realistically, no one should be in prison for marijuana, period, because it just doesn't make sense.
Yes.
I have yet to see where marijuana has caused the damage that crack and meth and heroin and other drugs, cocaine, have done to families. If you want to really be real about it, let's go back to the 80s when crack was 100% pure and it devastated families, especially in black and brown communities. And yet you still have, people don't understand, you're still dealing with the effects of crack now because that mother had kids that were addicted to it and weaned off of it. And that still impacted them some way, health-wise, mentally, some kind of way.
I believe that.
But we're not doing what we're supposed to do. So what I'm going to say to you, brother, and I'm very clear in everything I say because I don't play games, and I definitely say what I mean. You have a very powerful seat. You're a council member for the 4th largest city in the nation. Soon possibly be the 3rd largest. If you win this re-election, and with all the odds that people on social media like to put against you, well, he's a bail bondsman. That's the dumbest reason in the world not to vote for you, sir. Because I'm a bail bondsman. I'm going to tell you, I don't have the money that I made. And I know it's a lot of money. Oh, it's a whole lot of money. But you know what I did? I reinvested in a community that was also being pursued and disenfranchised by that same system. So when I went to their homes to pick them up, because they didn't appear for court, I would make it a point to check the refrigerator because there were kids there, and a lot of times there was nothing in there. And I'd go to the grocery store and I'd bring groceries back, or the lights were off. So I'd find out how much the lights were and I'd pay the light bill. Because I had that money. Because trust me, that Kansas City, 20% on city, 10% on state, and people go to jail every 5 minutes. And the problem with that is that who goes to jail every 5 minutes? What do they look like?
They don't
Black
look
and
like
brown.
me.
They look like me.
Right, I agree with you
They
totally.
look like me.
In fact, if you go to the municipal court and look at all the people that are sitting in the courtrooms, for every 68-year-old white guy you'll see 200 to 300 black and Hispanics in there.
And that's unfortunate.
Am I right?
It's disproportionate. Because if you think about it, there are a lot of people that look like you that get slapped on the wrist. Let's be honest about that.
True.
There was a college kid. What college was that? It was one of those nice top of the line colleges. He got arrested for rape.
Yes.
I don't.
I can't remember which college it was.
It's been a while back.
Yeah, it's been,
I know what you're talking
and
about.
he got slapped on the wrist.
Yes.
But when it's somebody that looks like me, I
Rob
know
Turner
somebody
or
in
something
jail
like that.
in Missouri right now serving 700 years for the same charge that several people that don't look like them have done and got probation or house arrest or all kind of things. So we have to be clear when we start talking about politics and how we better serve our communities and the people that will represent us, who is best suited to represent us, that we choose the right person, and that person understands that we're going to hold you accountable. So what I would tell you, Councilman, because I've talked to Mike, I've talked to other council members, I've talked to other candidates, and I'm very serious about what I say. Going into 2020, Texas has to change. We have to evolve. We have to start thinking outside the box, and party cannot play a part in our decisions. Because I know you're not a Democrat. Does it matter to me? No. Because we need to find the middle ground that makes us both get what we need out of the whole ordeal. If we are working solely for your benefit or your constituents' benefit or your benefactors, your donors, then we failed the whole group of people. Same thing here. Democrats, a lot of times, and I'll be honest, always like us. And I'm like, well, it's not about just us. We got to think about the people on the other side of the spectrum of the coin. The people, we got to think about the GLBT.
You know, but you brought up a good thing. You said you know I'm not a Democrat. How do you know that?
Because
Is it the color of my skin? The color of my hair?
nope, it's that red tie, brother.
Now wait a minute. I've been on council longer than Trump has been in office, and I've been wearing a red tie ever since I got
I know
elected.
you have.
I always dress the same so people will recognize me.
Okay.
A red tie, white shirt, black coat, black pants, black socks, black shoes. That's all I ever wear.
And you only come out during Christmas season.
Yeah, right. I'm going to blow your mind. The last time I ran for a public office that wasn't a nonpartisan office, which that's what city council is.
Yeah.
The last time I ran for a public office did I run on the Democratic ticket or the Republican ticket? Or do you not know?
You ran independent.
I ran on a Democratic ticket. In 2006, I ran for State Senate, District 7, as a Democrat. I've never ran as a Republican in Harris County.
So, now,
If you go back and look at my voting record, I haven't voted in a primary since I've been on council. I have a mixed history of voting Democrat and Republican.
I have to look to your wife to kind of get that nod.
When I get a chance.
And the thing is, and the reason I don't vote in a primary is I'm not going to separate myself by partisan politics from the people I represent in the city, the people I love, the people I care for, because I do go into the black and brown communities, as you say. I do go out on Selinsky Street when there was a shooting over there by the Boys and Girls Club, and they killed some folks over there.
Yes.
I do go out and I do walk in the Martin Luther King parade every year. I do walk in or ride my golf cart now in some of the parades. I haven't missed a Martin Luther King parade or a Juneteenth parade in, I don't know, 12, 15 years. And the thing is that I'm not going to separate myself from the people in the community that need me because they think I'm one way or the other. So let people be confused, because my Republican friends, they know I'm a Democrat. My Democrat friends, they think I'm a Republican. You came to my Christmas party. Did any of y'all come to my Christmas party this time?
Wait. You had a Christmas party.
We had over 800. We put it on Facebook. You ain't paying attention. And
I wasn't paying attention.
we had over 800,
Yes.
and I promise you, 2/3 of them were either black or Hispanic, and most of them are Democrats. And the fun part of it is when Republicans come to the party, they love to dance. Archie Bell was there,
Yes.
and he
That's
sang
great.
"Tighten Up."
Yeah.
Matthew Knowles comes to our Christmas parties, Beyonce's father. And when we dance and carry on and party, one lady came up to me and she said, "This is the most fun Republican party I've ever been to." And I said, "Do you know why?" And she said, "No." I said, "Because 2/3 of it is Democrats." And I said, "I know that we're here celebrating Christmas, but by the way, come over here. And here, I want to introduce you to Derek Muhammad. He's a member of the Black Panthers. I want to introduce you to Robert Muhammad. I want to introduce you to some." And it blows them away. I have Christians, Jews, Muslims, Hindus come to our Christmas party. Why? Because I love people.
Well, I'm just mad because you got my cell phone number. I didn't get a text at least for about this party.
Oh, Lord.
But no, here. This is what I want, and that's a great response from you, Councilman.
Does that make you feel good?
Kind of tingly.
Because you might have been guilty of what other people are. They look at the color of my skin and my hair.
No, I don't look at that way beyond.
Okay.
No,
Look at my wallet.
One of the things that I'm known for, Josh, so you can speak to this, is I will throw stuff at people to get them to really open up and speak.
Who's the treasurer on my campaign that has been for 6 years?
Josh Mica.
I don't know.
No, Pastor James Nash.
Who was that?
He's an old pastor.
He's an older pastor that was over the Ministers Against Crime.
He's also black. He's black. Yeah, he's black. Yeah.
At least you didn't do the Dwight Boykins thing and former Mayor Lee Brown.
I know Lee Brown.
Yeah.
I like Lee Brown.
Well,
DJ, what do you got to say?
Well, first of all, I'm going to say it like this here. He is well respected, and I love that about Mr. Kubosh. Out of all events that I do, worldwide, especially in Houston, well, most in Houston, because you don't travel like I do no more. So, but I'm trying to say,
Houston.
But the thing is, out of all the big events that I do in Houston, you are there. You well represented, and everybody is showing you love. So My thing is, I was going to say, before you give up these politics, before you retire, will you run for mayor? Is that
Well, if my good friend and Mayor Turner wins, then we're on the same cycle, and that would be something I would certainly consider. But if Busby wins, I'd have to run against a rich incumbent, and so I can't say at this point what I would do. I still got a race right now I've got to win, but people ask me that all the time, and let me say this: that's a very kind thing for you to say to me, because Mayor Turner is probably one of the most intelligent mayors we've ever had, who's ever been the mayor of the city of Houston.
Okay, clarify that for me. Like, what makes you say that? Like, what specifically? Because we earlier were talking about pros and cons.
I'm going to tell you, he's Harvard graduated. He went to almost 90% white high school and was the valedictorian of the high school. Years ago in Klein High School. Yes, he was. He was a state legislator for 25 years. He never lost an election when he was, or 26 years. He is knowledgeable about state law. Why? Because he probably wrote most of them or voted on them. He knows the ins and outs of government. He knows who's who, whether or not they're on the right side or the left side. He's been in government all these years. He's knowledgeable of circumstances. Whenever I ask him a question about the water rights on something over off of Brazos Bayou, Brazos River, he knew the answer to it. Didn't have to go and dig it up. Because he knew it, because he had been there. I'm telling you, this mayor is the most intelligent mayor we've ever had and the most educated. Now, you know, all he's got to do now is just always do the right thing.
Okay, I was waiting for that. That's
Just
what
do the right thing.
That's what I was waiting for, because intelligence is one thing, right? You can be the most intelligent person in the room, but you can do some real stupid stuff.
Well, that's why I have been advocating, once I'm reelected, I'm going to start pushing for the city to change the charter to hire an independent elected city attorney, just like the county has. We need an independent elected city attorney who doesn't work for the mayor, but who works for the people. Get us out of all these crazy lawsuits that we don't need to be in. An elected city attorney, just like we have the elected county attorney, will not have to answer to the mayor. He has to answer to the people and to the law.
I like
What about a city? What's that?
city manager.
What?
City manager?
Yes.
Well, why have a city manager? I mean, you're saying a city manager, and I've thought about this a lot of times. I've looked at other city manager governments. The mayor, we could simply fix a lot of the problems by giving council more authority to be able to put something on the agenda.
On the agenda, yes.
We need to do that. We also need to take the vote away from the mayor. The mayor doesn't need to vote unless it's a tie.
Yes.
Yeah, he don't need to vote unless it's a tie.
Okay.
And he doesn't need to control the agenda. Council members need to be able to put stuff on the agenda.
What about the?
So how do we
what about
fix
the
that?
ability to sign
It's a
off
charter
on 50
change.
Yeah, the change of the charter.
And
would
so,
be-
but how do you change the charter
There's two ways to change it.
if he doesn't put it up for a vote? You know.
Well, there's two ways to change it. One, you do what I did on the red light cameras. You collect 20,000 petitions with a margin of error of 10%, and you submit them to the city secretary with the wording of the charter amendment to change the charter. That's what happened, and give the people the right to vote on it. The people voted the red light cameras out, not me.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, and we
I
got rid
wanted
of
to
them.
say that as well too. Thank
Just
you
so
so
you know,
much.
Anton
Yes, you're
is-
more than welcome.
Thank you, because that was a
Anton is solely for red light cameras.
Oh,
Are you kidding me? These people can't drive around here. Are you crazy?
Well,
So-
red light cameras increase the accidents. There's other ways. There's better ways.
Well, who did that study? Who
Yeah.
was the moron that did that story?
Take
We
that.
had them.
to give them we took their pension. Now they're like the lowest paid in Texas,
Lowest paid in the country.
or in the country. You know, so how are we going to rectify this? You know, so yes,
Give 'em a raise.
we pay. You know, Prop B passed, now it's unconstitutional. The city, you know, like, so what did we vote for if the mayor was just gonna sue, making sure that we weren't gonna be able to pass that? You know, so that's what. Can you clarify?
Well, first of
with
all,
us?
here's what happened. The mayor passed he passed the exit up a long time ago. Back in 2016, when he was sworn into office, he should have had what we call collective bargaining. That's what the state law is. State law is collective bargaining with the police, with the fire department and the city. But instead we filed suit saying collective bargaining was unconstitutional. Then the firefighters got upset. They wanted this Prop B. The mayor was running around saying A is good, B is bad. You remember probably hearing him say that.
Yeah.
Well, A was bad and B is good for them, and they passed it. And as a result of that, then the mayor filed suit saying, oh no, it's unconstitutional because collective bargaining is what the state law says. The very thing that we've got a lawsuit saying is not.
Yeah.
You know, it's the craziest thing in the world. He meant, even though he's the smartest guy in the room, he missed it there. You know, he should have went ahead and agreed to a collective bargaining agreement and let them figure out what it is. We can't pay money we don't have, and whoever the arbitrator was, they'd have figured that out, and they'd have gave them something fair. But instead, we haven't given them anything. And even after Prop B passes, the mayor keeps saying, well, they deserve a raise. I've offered them 9% over 3 years. They won't tell you. I've offered them this. They won't tell you. Well, the truth of the matter is he just needs to go ahead and pay them, take the pressure off the pot. Pay them. Give them something. And then let them holler and complain.
Yeah.
But at least raise their pay instead of doing nothing, because it ain't helping anything. These firemen have 3 jobs normally, most of them. They work for 3 different fire departments. I don't know if you know that or not.
Yeah.
Or they do 3 different, some other job. You know that.
Yeah, no, I do. They work in hospitals. They work in the emergency
Or
department.
a lot of firefighters have moving companies. I've ran into a lot of firefighters
and lawn services
they
too.
actually move furniture.
Yeah.
Now, what I want to make sure is that our people don't take our statement as that, we shouldn't have to pay so much because these guys have other opportunities. No, what we're saying is that they're working extra to try to fill in the gap.
Police do it too.
Yeah, police do too. Off duty, and those guys make bank. If you think about it, I know a lot about this stuff. Most of my friends are cops from being a bail bondsman. Off duty work is their bread and butter. It is absolutely that $20, $25 an hour when they're working off duty at CVS or Walgreens or some event. That is that money that they really depend on. Now, should they depend on working extra hours like that?
Probably not.
Probably not. Neither should firefighters, because we need you well rested. We're not far. Sitting here, Southwest Key, or not Southwest Key, but Southwest End, the fire that took firefighters' lives.
Yeah.
We have to realize who is really important to the city of Houston, and firefighters are there all the way. We talked about Imelda, we talked about Hurricane Harvey, Southwest End. We'll talk about Southwest Key in a minute, buddy.
Are you aware that I received a call from someone who told me that all the firefighters who had died at the Southwest End fire had liens on their estates by the city, and that the 2 that had lived and one that later died, Iron Bill died later. He had a $2 million. He had a $2 million lien on his estate, and firefighter Yarbrough has a $3 million plus lien on his estate.
Who orchestrated that?
And the city had the liens. And so when I brought it up, the mayor happened to be in South America when I heard about it. So I brought it up at council. Well, the city attorney says there are no liens on their estates. I had called Marty, the president of the firefighters union, and I said, are you aware that there's liens on these estates? He said, I did not know it. He called the families and they told him there were. And he said, why didn't you tell me? He said, we were afraid that if we would have told you, that there could be repercussions to us, and we didn't want to tell you. So the liens were over $50,000 on each one of the firefighters that died. And I thought, for what? Well, the services rendered to them while they were there. What? I mean, they were dead. I mean, what kind of services were rendered worth $50,000? You know, to me, it just didn't make sense. And it was rendered to them by other firefighters. I don't get it. Well, it became a controversy, and the city attorney kept denying that there was any liens by the city on the firefighters. We don't have any liens on them. And finally, Council Member Travis, who is a lawyer, he said in council after it had been going on for about a week, he said there are liens on the firefighters' estates, and they were put there by the workman's comp, the statutory law of the workman's comp that if you are injured in the line of duty and that you receive money or compensation, that they have a right to have a lien against you in case you ever come up with any money to pay it back. And so he said, and I have he held up a piece of paper and said, I have a release of lien right here that the mayor can sign, and we can get rid of these liens on these firefighter estates. Well, the mayor said we didn't have any liens on their estates. Well, I had the liens at my desk, because they were furnished to me by one of the lawyers. And so I kept pushing until finally 3 months. I went and met with the firefighters estate, the people from their estate. I met with Iron Bill's wife, and I met with Yarbrough and others. And it was a very emotional meeting to be at the fire union and meet with these people, knowing I was fighting for them. And after 3 months, we got those liens removed. And there was no big fanfare about removing them. And there was no, big press conference. There was no big, voila, they're gone now, hallelujah. We finally got them released, and it was just real quiet and muffled, But the firefighters, that's why when I go to a funeral, or my wife and I sometimes, we just like to pull into a fire station. When those firefighters see me, I'm a celebrity there. They all know me. All of them know me because of the stands that I've taken. They know who I am. When I go to a funeral, the honor guards will walk me down to the casket because they know that I have stood up for them. Mm-hmm. They don't forget that. They're very loyal people, by the way, and they're good people. And I just think that the mayor needs to go ahead and give them a raise, and let's move on. Let's quit all this litigation stuff, and let's get into a room and have it settled with collective bargaining.
So I think that you brought up some very serious information, because those liens, that's a slap in the face to somebody that's willing to risk their lives.
It is, and I had no idea about that before.
That doesn't, here's the deal.
You
That
didn't
does
know
not,
that
that does not,
Yes.
no, I knew about it. I was told about it. I was told about it.
Now we know
And
about
I
it.
absolutely, it blew my mind, and I became pissed. Because somebody is willing to risk their lives and walk into a burning building, dive into a flood, rushing 60-mile-per-hour water to save you from the top of your car, and they get hurt. And the first thing the city can think about is getting reimbursement. That's bullshit.
Well, this is the city of Houston for you, and that's why this is why it's important to have this conversation.
They're gone.
That's
It's
and
really-
But I fought until they were gone.
Just like
because
you
I
did for
saw
the
the
lights.
memorial when they had the memorial
Yes.
thing, it backed
I
up
know,
traffic.
like major props, because who else would have done that? This is probably going on forever, and if it wasn't for your fighting courageous that you kept on pushing, these people would probably still have
They were
a
still having
lien
liens.
on their property. That is ridiculous. Oh, I didn't even know about that. I'm even more upset. But speaking
And
about,
well, another thing, I want to bring this up. I said, listen, I want other people that have died in the line of duty, police officers, people, public works people. I want if you're injured or die in the line of duty for our city, or if you're seriously injured and we've got a lien against you, call me. I want to help you get rid of it. And I made a big plea to everybody. And of course, I got some calls, but people were afraid to do anything.
You know why, Josh?
Go ahead.
You know why people are so afraid? We talked about this other pros and cons of Mayor Turner versus Tony Busby. People are afraid of the revenge that comes from our mayor. If you speak against him, if you go against him, if you support anybody outside of him, people here are so afraid of what he'll do to you, the contracts he won't give you, and I'm not afraid. Anyway.
well, that's
So
what I'm saying.
the
like,
truth of the matter is that you got a lot of foolery around here, and people are not getting what they need because people are playing politics. When you take politics, when you take emotion out of it, you're going to get real, true progress and change. And until then, you're going to get this foolery, this goddamn circus with a whole bunch of clowns and no ringmaster. It's unorganized and it's falling apart.
So that's why Josh had me on the show.
Yes, that's why I wanted you to come on. That's right.
But because you realize that I'm an independent thinker, I stand up, I speak my mind. If I'm wrong, I'll admit it. I'll repent.
Yeah.
But you got to show me I'm wrong.
No, and I so appreciate you coming on because I really didn't know much about you until you donated for us, and I was so blown away that you just wrote me a check and you're
You
like,
should thank me. You should thank me very much.
you know,
Well,
and I do thank Anton because he hooked me up, but it was, you know, you're like, hey, my check's gonna be here. Tell me who to make it out to. It's gonna be at this location. Go ahead and pick it up. And I was like, wow, that was like the fastest way I could even collect any kind of money ever. And it was for a good cause, and so I really do appreciate
Josh,
it. But
I want to say this to you, and my daddy taught me this years ago, and for those of you listening, this is a great lesson he taught me. He said, it's not what you know, son, and it's not who you know, it's who knows you.
Come on.
yeah,
You know, he told me, he said, it doesn't matter that you know the Lord. Does the Lord know you?
wow, yeah,
And it's not, do you think I'd be sitting here right now if President Obama knew me personally? You think I'd be sitting here if the Bushes knew me personally?
I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, I probably done got a big deal somewhere, don't you think?
Yeah, you'd be.
You know, Clinton
Director of Homeland Security.
Yeah, you know, whenever Clinton left Little Rock, they said half Little Rock left and went to Washington. Remember that?
Well, when Obama became president, he tapped people from across the country. Our governor
But it was
in Arizona,
people he knew.
Well, our governor, I forgot her name at the time. She became the director of Homeland Security, and he tapped people across the board. And so, yeah, you may not be here, and I give you full respect for hooking Josh up immediately. You and Mike Knox did it. As soon as I called Mike, he was like, hey, where can I mail the check? I said, well, I need to pick it up. And we met up and we talked for an hour, and he wrote the check out of his personal account.
Right.
I solicited money like that from a lot of other people. You guys came through first, if not at a whole.
And that's why I'm so grateful because
Yes.
if it really wasn't for you, we would have been able to pull it off. It was money that I would have to come out
Well,
of.
that makes me feel good. I'm glad I gave.
It was so, and to watch it. So we had Rodney and Commissioner Rodney Ellis. He also donated pies, and he showed up, and we had.
Have you ever looked at some of the campaign finances of some of these people?
I have not.
And what their war chests are?
Yes.
We have.
Well, first of all, I'm the only council member that has a loan out to himself,
Yes.
and my loan is about $270,000. So I'm actually in the hole, okay? Because I put my own money in the race. There's other people like everywhere from the governor down to Commissioner Ellis that have millions and many millions of dollars in their accounts. And why aren't they giving it to the people? Why haven't they helped people? Why aren't they doing more? I've said that about the governor, the lieutenant governor. I've said it about I happen to know that Senator John Whitmire, he's got a large amount of money in his campaign account. With all the people around him that are suffering, that have needs, why hoard that? He has the power to give that to situations that would help them.
Yeah.
Because people think that giving you a turkey during Thanksgiving is a way to show that you care.
It's not enough.
Let me explain something to you. Now, and nothing against anybody that decided to at least give a turkey. At least you did something. But how you gonna give a turkey to somebody that may have no electricity in their home?
Yeah.
Or no gas in their house? Or may not even have a oven to be able to cook said turkey? Yeah. Give me what a lot of people were saying to me was that, I'd rather have a job. I'd rather be able to get hired at one of these nice companies you guys are giving these tax subsidies to come into our city and actually, because they're bringing in high-paying jobs.
A livable wage.
Yes.
Livable. What is it? But here's the deal. I asked a million questions, and one of the questions is, what is a livable wage? Because $15 an hour is not really a livable wage.
And you'd have to have two of them
Yeah.
to survive.
On average, you need between $25 to $30 an hour to live fair. Let's be real, because to live in a nice apartment where you're not worried about somebody stealing your car, breaking in your apartment, it's going to cost you for a two-bedroom almost $2,200 a month.
Absolutely.
And then on top of that, auto insurance is high here, and you know, an average car payment is $400 a month. When we start doing the math, you're easily at $3,000 to $4,000 a month. That means you need disposable income in excess of $48,000 to $50,000.
About 30 years ago, I don't know if y'all remember this, but one of the board members for Metro back then, he had his car stolen. And he couldn't get the insurance company to pay for it because he didn't have insurance on the car. And so he started riding Metro himself. And he only had to walk a block to get on the Metro bus. And he started riding Metro. And he got on television after a few years, and he told everybody, look, I don't need a car. I ride the bus. I'm on the board of Metro. It's a non-paid position, by the way. And I ride the bus everywhere I go. And he said, every year I have saved enough money on car notes, gasoline, and insurance. I take a cruise or a trip anywhere I want to in the whole world.
Yeah, but that's if you live next door to the bus stop. That's if you're.
I'm just saying he did. He lived a block away.
So what?
If you have one job that you
how
can
do
go
we
to,
create routes
you
that
know?
allow everyone to truly benefit from public transportation? Because in other cities, they have small little buses and vans like Dollar Ride programs where you can call and get scheduled to be on a carpool list where a van picks up several people and you get where you're going.
You know, and let me say this. This isn't rocket science. We have computers now.
Yes.
And we have computers that can organize, that have algorithms that are able to figure it out. And people, you understand?
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
it's not like it was 30 years ago, 40 years ago. We have computers, and we should be able to do better. And I'm really sad that people have to struggle with getting to work.
Yes.
I sometimes see these Metro buses running down the road late at night, and there's one person on the bus.
True.
Have you seen that?
Yes.
Yeah.
I see it all the
One
time.
person.
One person.
Even on the trail, the rail line that goes towards navigation,
Yeah.
toward Farm Center.
Yes.
Yes.
A lot of times
Yeah,
it's not. Yeah.
Josh,
Always
why
like
is
that.
it that I'm sitting here and I'm thinking to myself, help me for a minute. Why am I sitting here thinking that what he said earlier about Kansas City giving all free rides to everybody, why does that appeal to me?
I don't know, but it appeals to me as well too.
Yeah, I know that's right.
and I will be there at the commissioners or at the next city council members
But
and see if we can pass.
But you know what?
That's
free,
Metro, but
but-
doesn't the city council control
but
Metro,
before-
or does the mayor control Mayor?
the mayor appoints somebody to Metro.
Yeah, but before we do that,
Before we do that,
Before we do what?
Get
go
free
to the city with that, to go to the Metro Board with this proposition. I would want to say let's watch and see how this works for the next 3 years. Make sure that the employees still getting paid. You know what I'm saying? Because we still need to learn what is that. You know,
You're in one of the wealthiest.
I understand.
cities
I understand.
in the
But
country.
if they are, I understand that.
We're
But
wasting money.
eventually, if we keep spending too much money, we will go.
We're
we will
wasting
get in the
money
hole
at the
somewhere.
top line.
I understand
This
that,
council
but
member makes
I
$64,000
understand that.
a year.
Everything
base
works
salary.
on the budget, though.
62.
Six. You came in at 6. Okay.
You get. I'm just.
All of us make 62.
Everything works on the
makes
budget.
$236,000 a year.
I understand that, but I would rather watch it. I would,
And the controller makes 157. And how much does the governor make? Somebody, the governor of the state of Texas, how much did he make? Going once,
400.
going twice, 150,000, $7,000 a year less than the controller of the city of Houston.
wow.
The mayor makes a lot.
How about a Supreme Court justice? About 165,000 a year.
The mayor
We're top heavy.
And the mayor.
How about the Dr. Purse that's over our medical our health department? Right at 500,000 a year.
Top heavy. Just like our RSDs.
How about the chief of police?
That's money.
About 300,000 a year.
Yep.
yeah, but somewhere I was saying
We like you, Art.
Okay, so
we
You're expensive.
somewhere.
Very expensive.
we can find money. We can find money.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. We can find money for HIV.
We can find
money
a ton of money.
for free public transportation. I mean, if we wouldn't have to worry about having to pay People probably would ride the
Just
bus
go
more
get on the
often.
bus.
Just get on the bus.
Are there any free buses in Houston right now? Does anybody know?
No.
Yes, there are.
Not where I live.
Downtown.
Downtown,
Yeah.
yeah.
There's that Houston First
They got
bus.
the green
You
light
get
bus,
on it, and
the
that
green
light,
line. I
you get
mean,
on it.
yeah.
I live where you live.
I'm just talking to them. I ain't talking to you.
But what about?
I mean, I do live downtown,
like
so I
Italy?
can see it, but it doesn't go anywhere other than downtown. It goes like 7 stops. And if you live within those 7 stops, that
What
is
about
great.
the transit buses that run in Harris County? Do they charge on those?
What?
The little small buses. They have transit buses for Harris County.
So, I know,
You know, I
I'm
don't
sure
have
they
the
do.
answer to that.
I know Fort Bend has buses.
I know they
that
run it.
bring
They
all-
just started running by my house.
Well, we have 25 minutes left.
25 minutes. So let's be real mean and Councilman. No, I'm just kidding. No, hey, man, it's great to see you,
Yes.
man. It really
Good to be
is.
here.
It really is.
I don't think we covered
thank you
everything,
for being your
but-
amazing wife. You guys are inseparable. And one of the things I want to be clear to people is that when we talk about politics, we have to separate certain things: party, right, and emotion. Because what I find here in Houston is a lot of people, me, my needs. But how does your needs correlate to your community? How does your community's needs correlate to the whole city of Houston, or to the county of Harris County? The city of Houston, what, 4 different counties? We got, what, Montgomery,
Three.
Harris, three different counties. Montgomery, Missouri, and, Harris.
Brazoria, no, Fort Bend,
Fort Bend,
Fort Bend,
Harris, and Montgomery County.
and Montgomery County.
Just a little bit of Montgomery and just a little bit of
Yeah, a little bit of Fort Bend, which is kind of like
one voting box in Montgomery, 11 voting boxes in Fort Bend.
So we have to be realistic about the ideas that we bring to the table and how they benefit the many versus the few. Because what I find here is a lot of people who are always me. And it's like, okay, what about the other people on the other side of the table? You know, you talk. So, Josh, one thing I want to say to you is kudos, dude. You're my brother, and I thank you for creating the show and giving people living with HIV a voice and helping to bring them to the table and to get their voices heard, because people don't understand how important that is. When we come to this table like this and we sit in front of a gentleman like Councilman Kubosh, is it Kubosh or
Kubosh.
Kubosh? Councilman Kubosh, it's an opportunity, because everybody says your name is something.
It don't matter.
So
It's spelled Kubosh when you make out the check.
yeah.
Okay, that's right. You know that's right.
So, but
Make that check out right.
when you're sitting in front of individuals like this that have the opportunity to make decisions on you, on your behalf,
Yes,
or
on my
your
life.
behest, you have to be realistic. You can't just spout off things, because then they become deaf to what you're saying, because it just sounds like banter. It just sounds whatever. And so, because there's a lot of politicians out there like that, just like, well, they're just screaming the same thing. They're screaming. Nobody's offering solutions.
Yes.
Well, here's my solution, Brother Councilman Kubosh.
I'm listening.
We need to do better for those underserved communities as far as transportation infrastructure and opportunities, employment, and small business. We need to have grants for our seniors to ultimately get roofs and all kind of things on their houses that they may need, because they paid their dues, they've done their time. Other cities do these things where they have grants where you can apply for them if you're over a certain age and your house is falling apart. Hell, we can even do volunteers to come out and do the work and save us a ton of money on that grant. There's a lot of ideas. So what I would tell you is that you get reelected, one, I'm going to hold you accountable. I'm going to ride your back. I'm going to come to those meetings, but I'm not going to be a jerk about it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say, Brother Kubosh, I need you to consider this and talk it over with your cohorts, with your fellow council members and the mayor, and see if there's something that we can do at the city level, and if the people of this great city would appreciate it, because at the end of the day, we all have a voice. Everybody in this room has a voice, and we own stake in this great city. And if we are not heard, then we are left out, and then we fail as a whole. Not just you, not just Josh, not just Lady Hale, and not just DJ Game Tight, but we all fail, and we look like laughing stocks outside of here.
Yeah.
Because people are moving here, but they're moving here from New York. Cash money.
Right.
And they make it more expensive to live here because they pay cash for that house because it's cheaper than a house in San Francisco and LA. Trust me.
Yeah.
I've been around the world. Now, trust me, I know what's happening.
Yeah.
And we're going to be in a predicament if we don't take care of the people that are going to be disenfranchised or marginalized or left out of the equation. How do we do it? We get rid of that feeding ban because that's stupid. Because as a human being, we should be willing, we should be more than able to help uplift one another, not just necessarily give a handout, but give an upper hand to one another to get us into a better place. Along with that, we need to fund transitional living facility and partner with big corporations to ultimately transition these people to good paying jobs so that they can then one day move out and move into an apartment or a house that they can afford and start a savings and buy cars. We have to start doing these things as human beings. We have to look at each other as human beings, because otherwise, until we do that, we're failing. So kudos to you, brother, for jumping into a fight, because I know politics
and
sucks.
definitely kudos for coming on our show last minute. And I really appreciate you coming on POZ Impact to just have a very frank discussion about what's happening in the city. And thank you for giving us your insight on how you see, you really opened our eyes about a lot of things that's happening in the city. And so
we appreciate your honesty.
Yes,
we appreciate your
definitely.
honesty.
And so I really would like to leave you with the last word.
Yes.
I know we're in election times, runoff. Vote for Mike Kubosh if you're available to. Anything else you would like to?
Well, I want the people to know that I'm an independent thinker. I don't. It's not in my DNA just to go along to get along. I'm not a contrarian, though. I like to listen to what the issues are. I give my cell phone out. That's why people text me while I'm sitting at city council, and they're able to ask me questions, to ask an open council. Sometimes I do it if it's a good question that I ask the question right on TV.
Yes.
I think it's important that people have that voice. So long as I have a voice, a vote, and a seat at the table that was given to me by the people, then the people have a voice, a vote, and a seat at the table. And I'll do everything I can to properly serve them and to be their voice. And they need to reach out to me. Let me know their issues, and I'll be happy to help. I go to people's homes. Just like I had a gentleman today send me this stuff, and he said, man, I need you to look into this. So tomorrow I'm going to go out to the house and see is that 90-year-old grandma. Because, that's what I do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you so much again for coming on our show.
Yes,
we are out of time, listeners. You have been listening to POZ Impact. We are Houston's first radio show dedicated to people living with HIV, their friends and family. I want to thank my co-host, Lady Hale, for coming on.
Anytime, my brother.
And Anton for coming on our shows. We'll be talking a little bit about politics. And our special guest, Michael Kubosh, for coming on and representing the city council and giving us a little bit of a perspective of what the city, how it runs, and how we can improve in our city. And again, elections are currently in the runoff, so make sure you do vote. Last voting day is I'm getting my dates confused a little bit. December the 14th. It's Saturday, which I want to say. I wanted to say Tuesday, but it's Saturday.
You can vote tomorrow, though.
Yes, you can vote tomorrow. It's still early voting. So if you have questions, you can go to harrisvotes.org, and you can find all the information there. But we really want to appreciate Mike Kubosh for coming on our show and being frank with us and just having a one-on-one conversation about what's happening. So until next time, it's been real, and we'll catch you guys tomorrow with Real Talk with Lady Hale. Thanks, guys.